Cross-pollination requires agents. Why? The reason is pollen grains are non-motile, they cannot move on their own. So the transfer of pollen grains from the anther of a flower to the stigma of another flower happens with the help of certain agents. Let us see what are the agents of cross-pollination. These agents can be abiotic or biotic. Non-living factors or can be living factors. Abiotic agents are represented by wind and water. Wind can carry the pollen grains, water also can carry the pollen grains, and biotic agents are represented by animals. Let us first see what is the situation in cross-pollination by wind. Cross-pollination by wind. Cross-pollination by wind is also known as anemophily. Anemos means wind, anemophily. If cross-pollination has to take place with the help of wind, there are certain requirements. The pollen grains must be weightless. They must be very light in weight so that they can be easily carried by wind. Pollen grains must be produced in very large numbers. Very large numbers, because there is no guarantee that the pollen grains carried by wind get themselves involved in pollination. So it is a chance. So they must be produced in large numbers. Flowers which exhibit cross-pollination by wind, these flowers are usually not prominent, they are inconspicuous, many a times colorless and odorless. Wind can carry these pollen grains to far off distances. There are examples where wind has carried pollen grains to hundreds of kilometers away. Common examples are mulberry. In plants like mulberry, we come across these situations. Pollen grains get released and they are easily carried by wind. Accidentally, they may get deposited on another flowers of the same species. Cross-pollination by water cross-pollination by water is called hydrophily. Hydrophily. Generally, this process occurs in aquatic plants. Aquatic plants. Pollen grains get released into water, and water carries the pollen grains, and they may get in contact with the stigma of another flower. In hydrophily, there are two possibilities. One is epihydrophily. Epihydrophily, where pollen grains are carried on the surface of water. This situation is observed in plants like Vallisneria. In some cases, pollen grains get released inside water. Inside water. So pollen grains are carried inside water, then it is hypohydrophily. This kind of hydrophily is observed in examples like Ceratophyllum. So cross-pollination by wind is called anemophily, cross-pollination by water is called hydrophily.